stress of me driving was not enough to like give you a belated heart attack.
I
Welcome,
managed to survive.
welcome once again to Akunsaunt Ebbed, episode 38. We rejoin the party on the 17th of Virdum. How's everybody doing? Everybody's dead?
Alright.
No, I feel bad.
I feel like we haven't played this game in forever.
Feels like we haven't.
I haven't been here at least.
No, it's been, what, 4 weeks since we last played?
My last notes are from the 2nd, so not 4 weeks.
Okay, so
3
3 weeks. And what happened those 3 weeks ago?
Would you like me to recount?
Things.
I'd like you to recap. I don't know if I need to recount. I don't know if this is Florida.
In the
1,
building
2.
that we are buying, we found devices that you can put potions into and inject into small creatures, possibly for testing samples of chemicals. There are lots of books, including at least one in Old Draconic, with lots of research notes about injecting blood of creatures into other types of creatures. Real creepy. Also trying to fuse body parts from different creatures using magic. The centipedes were created accidentally as the result of an experiment. There was also an issue with termites growing too large. The researchers discovered a way to help people heal more effectively. The book we found with all the notes had a gap of about 2 years. We're going to work with the building owner to have the Vinnies fill in the hole, and we buy it. Meg wants to look into the history of the building, and we learned it was owned by Cadell Perry, an acerbic arcanist, whatever that means. Aura Sound's Meadow Dropper, Meg's great-grandmother, and Finbar McKinney, a dwarf who was thrown out of the forge for being too creative. I buy a magical ukulele to give me a +3 perform bonus because okay. And Meg wants to buy a calm emotions rug for her apartment, but it's too pricey. And I have a note that you have to give out the XP in the next session, because I guess you didn't that time.
Okay.
And most importantly, Zug was able to eat that entire centipede, the really big boss one.
I don't know if he's eaten it already, but I'm sure he's been picking at it for quite a while.
No, let's keep my dinner.
All right. So, good recap.
So how about that XP from last session?
We'll deal with that at the end of this session.
Oh. What about
I
my
know.
XP from the recap?
You're not going to level from it, so it's okay. All right. Welcome back again, Charles.
Is Shepin Meg's last name?
No.
What does Shepin mean?
I don't know. I'm not Charles.
Meg, what does Shepin mean?
It's a secret to everybody.
Secret
The
type of
action
pudding?
Mega's taking.
I think he's still loading in.
I think the hot dog was not enough for dinner.
Probably not. All right. So, I believe when last we left off, you guys were a little bit lost for what to do as well.
Did you want to help us out there?
It's not my responsibility to help you out. You guys got to tell me where you want to go, what you want to do. Who do you think you are?
Where are things at with the our business?
Well,
Like
right.
we were doing this to get the address so that we could have something delivered here, right?
Correct. You cannot work out an account with the distributor you need who has the connection to whoever the next person with the ring is without having this location to be able to have drinks delivered to.
Okay,
so this is going to
can
act
we
as your
have-
sort of warehouse.
Can we have stuff delivered here now?
Right now would probably not be a good idea. You got a hole to fill in.
No, I thought since last time it happened, the hole would already be filled in.
But there's been, I mean, all you've done right now is like discovered like, okay, we need to have somebody come fill in the hole.
From what I wrote down, I guess what I thought was that we had the hole filled in before we bought it. Like I said, we work with the building owner to have Vinny's fill in the hole, and we buy it.
Right, that is what
So
the
I
plan
thought that
will
already
be,
happened.
but that has not already happened.
Okay, well, let's do that.
Okay. That's already
Everybody-
that is already being started in the background. The accountant is taking care of getting that all resolved.
But it won't be resolved in this session.
No, it's going to take a few days for that to happen. We can jump forward to that, but you've got time in between. And there's other stuff I believe that you guys wanted to look into and discuss when we left off last.
To remember, given that it was 3 weeks ago.
I know.
Anybody? Bueller?
Nope.
Bueller?
Well, there are
Charles.
missing pages and a number of people that you have that you could potentially talk to or look into.
Yeah, I feel like Charles would give input on that if he were here.
Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Oh, yay.
Okay, so you said missing people?
There are 3 people that were connected to this this infested building, and they were
Just
Cadell
read their
Perry,
names.
Orasound's Meadow Dropper, who
and
was,
Finbar McKinney.
and Orasound's Meadow Dropper is the mother of Meg's mother.
No. It was Meg's great-grandmother. Is what you told me. So the mother
Yes, that's
of
correct.
Meg's grandmother.
Yes, that is correct. And yeah, there is Finbar McKinney, who is an old smith from the Dwarven Forge.
Yeah, I think these people are exciting and should be investigated.
Orasounds is likely not alive. You guys know nothing about Cadell Perry or Finbar McKinney. Just based on age, you're pretty sure Orasounds is probably no longer alive, though.
What races were they?
Orasound's Meadow Dropper was a gnome. So if she is alive, she'd have to be very, very, very old, like nearing the end of life. But the odds are very low. You don't know what Cadell Perry or you can safely assume that Finbar McKinney is likely a dwarf, since he was one of the smiths from the Forge, and all of the smiths of the Forge have been dwarves, historically speaking.
Okay.
What is the goal from trying to find them? What are we hoping to learn about them?
Well, there was a very problematic project here, and you know that there is somehow a giant pit that goes way deep down into the earth, which you may or may not want to know, like, where that could go, or what could be down there. You may want to know if there's anything else that could be dangerous about this location. Maybe they have information in regard to them. Or maybe you just don't care and you want to take your chances and do something else.
Well, based on what the GM said, that sounds like a good plan. Let's not care and just see what happens.
I mean, the GM's just giving you options, and maybe nothing comes of it. Maybe something does.
Don't worry about the pit in the middle of that place. Nothing will come of it. Maybe.
I like the name Finbar McKinney, so I would say we investigate him.
Finbar McKinney is an outstanding name, and I want to meet Finbar just for that name.
Yeah, like, could we go to, like, the Hall of Records or whatever, see,
Yes.
like, if they're living in town?
I do believe that was, in fact, something that was suggested. That may have actually been done last session, but I do not remember. Because I did not take good notes on that. So we will do that this session.
Yeah, as far as I remember, we pretty much ended it right at the end of killing shit.
Yep. All right. So you guys can head on down to the hall. Now there are 2 records locations that you can go to. You can either attempt to get access to a local records office for like each individual family, or you can attempt to get into the Ministry of Trade's Hall of Records. It is more difficult to get into the Ministry of Trade's Hall of Records. You'll need to. There's a lot of forms to fill out. They have to be very precise, and you have to have the right information to get exactly where you want to go. but it is going to be much more accurate than the local Hall of Records are. Because if, for example, like Finbar may have been expelled from House Rurik, the records would only go until he's expelled from the family, until he's orphaned from the family. At which point his records are done. They don't keep anything past that.
Why would they catch him and eat him?
Hey, we're gonna learn how to make game boards.
Alright, yeah, I think we should just try going for the easier ones to start, and if we can't find the information we're looking for, maybe move on to the ones where we gotta fill out all the extra forms and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like our lawyer is pretty good at forms. I bet he could help us get into the good record hall.
True,
You don't
but
think so, lawyer?
True, but if the easy one does have the info, or does have it at least on one of the three, that could, give us, what we need right there.
Well, so here's some difficulty, though, you do know you're going to run into, and that is that all three of these people have original last names. So, like, Cadell Perry, you're not going to have a lot of luck finding without knowing what family lineage they may have belonged to back before the families took control. At the very least, you can make a pretty good assumption with regard to, Finbar and Aura Sounds, because Aura Sounds is a gnome, very clearly going to be in the GPPF. Finbar, very clearly going to be in the, in Rurik. But Cadell could have been from anywhere. I mean, a last name like Perry could fit into any one of the family's lineages.
So maybe we should try and find out about Finbar first, since he might still be alive. And then we could try Ermig's grandma, and then Perry will probably have to go to the... Steven, what did that Hall of Records what's it called?
The Ministry's Hall of Records.
Oh, the Ministry.
Yeah, the Ministry of Trade's Hall of Records.
How does that sound?
Yeah, but you said something about we had to ask them the right questions, right? To
get into the main ministry, you'll need to have a specific amount of information that you're looking for. Like, you need to have a name, you need to have some information about the person. It does take like some, preemptive, I'm looking for these details, and they stick you in a section and say, okay, here's what you can look at, and then somebody's kind of overseeing you while you search through that section to make sure you're not going in there looking for more details than you should be looking for.
So, should we start out looking for Finbar? Anybody?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So, one of you is going to get stuck behind because they are not allowed access to Rurik anymore. So what is Galfine going to do in the meantime?
It's a good question. Since everyone's gonna ditch me apparently. It's fine, I didn't need them anyways.
Well, what does she want to go do while the rest of the party travels in?
That's a good question. Something productive that she could do.
Well, you have some knowledge about things around town, right?
Yeah.
I think you should go kill Zug's neighbor so that he can make the bigger apartment that he wants.
Yes, the good person should go kill someone.
Or
Yeah,
just
well,
frighten
clearly.
them into thinking they were dead.
Well, you see, my neighbor is incredibly evil. He's taking the room that I want.
All about perspective.
Well, there are two other people you could potentially try to research on your own.
Do we know where either of them were from?
You know that Aura Sounds is
Mixed
from the
grandma.
GPPF, so...
So I could go there.
Do we want to split up and a couple of us go to look into Aura Sounds? I really want to call her Aura Sure. And it's a testing technology for HCV. we could split up, and a couple go to look for or sounds, and a couple look for Finbar, since not everyone can go to each territory.
Okay, that could happen as well. What would be the split if you were going to do that?
So Meg should look at Finbar because she can't go to GPPF, and I think Galfine and Harcourt should probably be split up. So I can go with Galfine. Harcourt, you want to go with?
Why do I have to be split up from Galfine?
Because you two are like the two people with strength. You don't want to leave us three little people by ourselves.
You're just in Hall of Records. I mean, it can't be that bad.
Anything could happen on the way. Werewolves, vampires, bats, centipedes.
No, we killed centipedes. We're done. No more centipedes.
The werewolves are technically on the opposite side of the city.
I'm just making a suggestion. I think it's good to have strong person in
And
each
friends
group.
of ours.
If someone has an alternate suggestion, they are welcome to propose it.
Look, just because you don't want me to punch Harcourt anymore.
I mean, I don't really care.
Oh, so I can punch him right now, though?
Well, they're adults.
See?
Why
The
did it
abuse
felt
I have to
good and
take.
let loose.
So I propose that I will go with Galfine. Meg, you could go with Harcourt. Zug, you can pick wherever you'd like to go.
You guys might need Zug for paperwork on both sides, though.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
other
the
people in
problem.
the group do have some level of knowledge law, right? It's not just Zug walking around with it.
I don't know. As far as I know, I am.
I have a
no
single
need for
rank.
knowledge law.
I have a total of 4.
Okay.
Okay, you don't just have a half point.
No.
All right, so yeah, I'll go with the other group then.
Okay. All right, so it looks like it's Galfine and Pax heading to the GPPF, and Meg, Harcourt, and Zug heading into Rurik. All right, let's see. Well, we will see. Since you're coming from Blade territory, it's going to take you about the same amount of time to get to either location. So we'll just pick at random who's going to go first. To me, top will be evens, bottom will be odds. Bottom. Alright, so Zug, Harcourt, and Meg make their way into House Rurik. House Rurik does require a bit of check-in as you get to the front gate. Each of you is asked to turn over any weapons you may have on your person before you enter.
I do not have any weapons on my person, I believe. Let me double check.
Meg, are you sleeping?
Yeah, I don't have any weapons on me.
Okay.
Well, let's see. I've got to turn over. That's kind of a list. And do I have to turn it over?
Yes, sir. All weapons must be turned over. You'll get them back before you leave. Just check in here, and we'll return them.
All right, so I'll turn over all my weapons.
How many items are you pulling out and setting down on this little counter in front of him?
Oh, okay. Let's go down that list.
Gotta turn over your fists too, because they're weapons.
I got rapiers. I got darts. The Candor arrow. The Candor bow. Let's see what else do I have down here. Oh, my punch dagger.
Just start dropping random stuff like dice and.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna drop my dice, deck of cards, a couple of bottles of wine, the sock puppet.
Sir, just weapons, sir. Just things that are registered as weapons.
Oh, things that are registered. And then I scoop everything back up.
Sir, the bladed objects and the pierceables need to go here.
Okay.
No,
so-
no, not pierceables.
Yeah. Pierceables would be something you can pierce, which is most anything.
No, the
Okay. The rapier, the darts,
Pierceables.
the arrow, the punch dagger,
Mag, wake up.
the needles,
fine, fine. Just
and the sock puppet.
no, sir. You can keep the sock puppet.
No, he has to stay here.
He's guarding everything.
He has to stay with my stuff. He's guarding it.
Oh, sir. Fine, whatever. Fine. I will process this. He pushes a few like runes on a little pad next to the thing, and a like kind of boxy thing comes up, and then sinks down into the table.
So you guys are gonna feed him, right?
Yes, we'll take good care of him.
You want to know his name?
That's not important, but I suppose you'll probably hand it over anyway.
No, I'm not. You didn't ask.
Okay, very good then. Thank you, sir.
So when he starts crying, and you can't console him. You think about that.
If he starts crying, sir, I will feel very bad.
You think about that.
I will think a lot
Make him
about that.
cry.
I will think a lot
Don't
about
make
how I've
him
made
cry.
the inanimate object cry, sir.
It's not inanimate.
He wasn't moving when you put them on the table.
As he was holding very still.
Okay, sir. Thank you. You may head in now.
I got him.
Please carry your sleeping friend with you.
I like hoist up the center of his clothing in her back and like just carry her in like luggage.
All right. So in you go to House Rurik. Around here, the streets are very clean and organized. Every building has a sign to adequately display exactly what it is. Roaming throughout House Rurik is a very quick and organized process. There is a specific section where a lot of the legal buildings lie. And in there you can find the family hall of records for House Rurik. Inside, there are a handful of clerks that roam around behind desks, as well as a couple of people in lines waiting for people to step up and in.
Yep. Yeah. Guess we got to join this line.
Whitney, can you give me host permissions again, please?
I don't know.
Let's see if I can do a trick to wake up Charles.
Oh, please don't do something egregious.
I'm awake.
Oh, there he is.
Ha!
The
It
trick
worked.
worked.
You can tell I can see his eyes are open.
Why
I
are you so dark?
have my video on. It's the only way I can hear you guys.
Gotcha. That's no problem. So, you get in the line. The line moves actually pretty quickly. When you get to the front, name. Come on, name.
Name.
No, I need your name,
Your name.
Okay.
Got it.
sir. Things have to be done orderly. I'm gonna have to ask you to step out of line if you do not give me your name now.
Your name.
Wasn't me that time.
One more, and I'm sending you all back to the end of the line.
Meg Shepard.
No.
Awkward Zoe.
No. My name. Meg Shepard.
Sir, we only need first names, and if you are part of a family, then you're a family.
Meg.
And okay, sir, you said Zoe,
Yes.
and you, sir?
Zug.
Very good. And you are here inquiring about?
How do we say it? Finbar McCallish? That's really
McKinney.
wrong. That last
Nope,
name.
you're close though. McKinney.
Inquiring about Finbar McKinney. McKinney.
One moment. She moves a few things around on something in front of her. Finbar McKinney. That is a Class 3 information designation. I am going to need some reasons that you're interested in details about Finbar.
Well, he worked on a scientific experiment. That's what those were, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I took away from them.
Yep.
And we have come across some of the research, and we wanted to see if he had continued to continue that endeavor, or if he had given up, and what else he was able to find out.
And he conducted this research while he was here in House Rourke, or following being in House Rourke? Are you aware?
I am not aware. I have some journals, but...
Do you know the time period in which this occurred?
Ooh, snap.
You have a relative time. You guys have the information from the books, so you can give over the time window.
Okay. I give him the time window.
Yeah, what was it, like 300 years ago?
Yeah, it started roughly around then.
Good memory, Tom.
I can give you what information that we have, or at least access herein. That is going to come at a cost, however. There, first of all, are some waivers that you'll each need to sign. And she slides over 3 pieces of paper to each of you.
All right, I'll read it.
Yep.
Yeah, I will also pick up my 3 pieces of paper.
Yep. It's 1 for each of you.
Oh, 1 for each of us.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay.
All right. This is a fairly straightforward kind of like acknowledgement of like recording of the exchange of information that you have. It also informs you that you'll be placed on a watch list with the information that you're acquiring. It is noted just in this document alone that this person is a living person, so you know that Finbar is alive just from being handed this document in and of itself.
Wow. There you go.
But it is basically if any strange activities or problems happen to befall Finbar, you are going to be you are immediately considered a person of interest.
Suspect.
And you will need to present for questioning. And if you're not found within a certain amount of time, you will be considered a warrant will be issued for your capture. And you'll be brought back here for immediate questioning.
Is there a specified amount of time that will remain on the watch list?
You remain on this watch list permanently. So long as Finbar remains alive. But it is directly with regard to Finbar, and not with, and excludes anyone else. So basically, like, if all of a sudden you start getting into trouble and you happen to be around Finbar a lot, you're gonna, there's gonna be a lot more interrogation of you. If something happens to Finbar, you're a prime suspect. It's a lot of we're giving you some information about a person on the understanding that this information we're giving you is slightly less than public, but it's still somewhat public. They do a lot of this when we do background checks and stuff like that. This is kind of like a standardized form. You're agreeing that you're going to use this information for whatever personal research purposes you have with regard to completion of whatever thing you're saying that you're going to. And if you do something outside of those parameters, then there are going to be consequences for said actions.
Okay. I don't know if I like getting put on this watch list.
Well, it's not like you're an active watched citizen. They're not going to be going to your house all the time. They're not going to be looking into you. You are just simply you have an additional if within proximity of Finbar, be advised.
Well, yeah, that's the concern for Zug. What if he has to kill this guy?
Okay. Fair enough.
That was pretty good. I did like it. You can't see me smiling, but that got good reaction.
What about the other two of you?
Yeah, okay. I'm probably on enough watch lists as it is anyways.
All right.
Besides, this timeline isn't real. And I say that out loud.
Okay, sir. She makes a few more motions in front of her. She'll take your document. Are all three of you signing? Do you think Zug will sign? What about Meg?
I have no problem signing.
Okay.
I respect the law.
I don't
Well,
think
you know,
you
it's-
guys will need me in there. I think you guys can get the info without me.
Okay. So Zug is taking leave?
Yeah.
All right. How...
Good, now we can get Zug to kill Finbar.
Does Zug make a scene as he leaves? Or, like, I'm not signing anything, blah, blah, blah? Or does he just, like, look down at the paperwork, read it, and then walk out?
This contract is not acceptable. I need to bring it to my lawyer, and I leave.
Give me a slight bluff check. Okay, that's fine. You head on out. All right, so the two.
Did that look suspicious?
Maybe if you were like paying a lot of attention. In this particular case, though, I mean, she sees a lot of people just storm out because, like, I have to sign something. What do you mean I have to sign something? So to her, it's kind of like she's used to it.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so the two of you will be given a small key. And then she points you over to a door which a number of people are kind of standing in line for. You'll need to let the door close in front of you. Once it's closed, insert the key, unlock the door, step inside, close the door behind you. Then the next one of you, insert the key, or wait for the door to close, insert the key, unlock the door, open the door, stand inside, close the door behind you.
A very boring job you have.
Can you follow those directions clearly?
Insert the key, close the door.
Wait for the
Walk
person in front of
inside.
you. Wait for the person in front of you to have closed the door.
Close the door, wait for the person to insert the key. Got it.
No, sir. Wait for the
Yes.
person in front of you to close the door.
Wait for the person in front of me.
To close the door.
I'll close the door.
No, sir. Sir, this is very, very important. Okay?
Closed door, turn key. Follow person.
No, there's no one to follow. It should just be you opening the door and then going inside.
Well, what if he goes in first? Then wouldn't I be following him?
Everybody's going to be going inside the door. But you have to wait till the door closes before you go next.
Okay. I can't let's stare through the keyhole.
There's nothing on the other side of the keyhole if you were to look through it. You won't see anything.
Oh. That's not how I thought keyholes worked.
Sir, do I need to call the authorities?
No. I'm just not myself. I don't have my pet sock with me.
Maybe I should have that key back.
Well, then if you take the key back, how's everybody else going to get in?
They all have their own key.
Well, then there we go.
Why don't you give me that key back?
How am I supposed to go in there then?
You wait in line.
Wait in line.
Wait for the door to close when it's your turn.
Wait for the door to close.
Step up to the door.
Step up to the door.
Put the key in the keyhole and
Put the
unlock
key in
it.
the keyhole. Unlock it.
Open the door.
Open the door.
Step inside.
Step inside.
Close the door behind you.
Close the door.
Okay,
This is
you're
what I
good.
said earlier, and you told me I was wrong.
It's not what you said, sir. Please head to the door.
I'm heading to the door. I'm waiting. Still waiting.
Sir, you don't need to announce what you're doing as you're doing it. Just make sure you do it in the right order.
I just got to make sure the door is closed.
All right. After some time of you simultaneously annoying the staff here and the people moving through the line, you will get your turn standing in front of the door.
Still waiting.
As long as you follow the directions correctly,
Following the directions.
you can enter into the room. When you step inside, one of you will enter and then the other one will come through a few moments later. And you will be sharing a room with a series of with a box laid out on a table in front of you. And inside of that box is a number of documents related to Finbar McKinney.
Did the box use a key?
The box does not need a key. You can just open the box.
Why don't we just open the box instead of opening the door? That would have been
You have to go inside of the room, which is a private room.
Could have just went inside the box. Wouldn't that have been easy?
All right. Let me have you two give me a either a knowledge history or a knowledge local check.
Ooh, knowledge history. Where's that one? I got that one here somewhere.
You do have that
knowledge history. That was probably a terrible roll.
It's a 16. It's not bad.
Oh, where is it? There it is. Ah, there we go.
Charles, are you able to get at your sheet?
Charles.
He died.
Charles.
He's still putting the key in the lock. Give him a moment.
He'll be less useful at the moment anyway. So with a 16, you will be able to find out that some time ago, this was roughly 300-ish years ago, Finbar was working for the Forge in Akunsaunt. These are details you know. He does eventually get expelled for doing a lot of side work, unauthorized side work, but using the Forge materials to do this side work. The dwarves are allowed to do their own side projects for friends or family or to make a little bit of income here and there. But they're not supposed to be using, there's a very specific set of items that they have access to. They have a special hammer that is produced specifically for them. The forge itself and the anvils within it are all significantly more powerful than the average equipment. He was caught using this equipment in order to produce other items for other people. The records say that he had a lot of interest in testing, just how far the forge could go, kind of what things it could make, beyond just what normally people would come in and ask for. Things that had to do with more of a micro level of what magic is than the macro level of what magic is. Lots of people are interested in having unlimited things. He was more interested in what could we do to kind of change the makeup of how magic works. Hold on a sec. Okay. In a lot of his work, though, as he would produce these things, people started becoming very aware of what was going on. Items were popping up in places they shouldn't be. Items of substantial power were ending up in the hands of people that definitely should not have had them, or at the very least were not authorized to have them. One of them in particular was a man by the name of Cadell Perry. Cadell Perry was very interested in how acids had effect on other things, and the things that you could do by blending simple toxins or poisons with arcane energy, and had a very distinct interest in making magical diseases and magical poisons. So he asked Finbar to produce an item that would allow him to inject to inject to inject diseases and poisons with spells. So he could, for example, isolate the isolated disease, get it within like get it into a liquid form, and then utilize magical energy and a device he had, and create not only a like powerful disease, but also a magically altered disease, and one that would like infect the recipient with the side effects of the spell as well.
Sorry, you said Finbar created the item that allowed Cadell to do that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
With the development of this item, there was a plague that hit all of Akunsaunt. This was the plague that started the seal-off of Akunsaunt, when they discovered that they have a disease that has infected the town that is essentially the most dangerous disease of all time.
What was it called?
The disease was actually unnamed.
The plague, and they never named it?
So there is a a 16 is not enough info to know why it's not named. It's just not named. This disease has no name to it. You find out that eventually the item gets taken. Cadell does get taken into custody, and is sentenced for 1 human lifetime in the dungeons, with the assumption that 1 human lifetime is the full life of Cadell Perry. Cadell Perry serves a full human life sentence of 75 years, and then is released on the technicality that he has lived past a traditional human lifespan. They attempt to resentence him, but by then, much of the information related to the disease is lost. And considering he no longer has access to the item, they assume he is safe to be returned to society. His spell books are taken. He is a very poor man. And around that time as well, the notes on Finbar come to an end also. Finbar is expelled from House Rurik. Finbar does not end up serving any time in the dungeons for his crimes. However, Finbar is not only banished from House Rurik, but is also banished from from most of the rest of the houses. At that time, the families were not quite as they are now, but this disease kind of sets into motion the splintering that occurs of each of the families. The families start becoming much more name centric. You start seeing like the notes in here go from like the notes of the Forge to like suddenly there's tags for House Rurik on them. And in the end, like it notes banned from House Rurik, banned from House Ruxpin, banned from House Rezix, banned from House So, banned from House Stonefist, banned from House Narenhawk. These are the places that Finbar McKinney is banned from for the item that he created.
Because are they sure that item started the plague?
They believe that according to the events that occurred, that is the only likely way that this happened. This is the only item in existence that would have been capable of doing this. The dwarves can produce items that transcend the traditional rules of like production of magic itself. They have access to such extreme like levels of magic, and a forge that can literally like bend and twist magic itself. But that is what you would get with a 16. All right, let us jump over to Pax and Galfine. The two of you head over to the GPPF. It's much easier, obviously, to get into the GPPF. There's not a lot of checking in and doing a bunch of other stuff. You can kind of
I
just
don't have to
walk
check
through
my
them.
snacks.
Nope. And you can head on over to the GPPF Hall of Records, which is in the main family hall. Just like in Rurk, though, there is a line here of people, and you can wait in the line, and we'll see what happens a little bit after you wait in line, after we take a short break.
Is it long enough for me to eat cereal?
Probably. All right, we'll see you in a short bit.